Good evening, everybody. What's up? It's me, Antonio. Wow, it's been a long, long time since I've recorded. Just wanted to say hello. I'm getting ready right now to record for this week's episode. And first and foremost, before I start, it's pretty hard, to focus right now, especially what's going on right now especially with my mental health right now because of the move and all that stuff. And I'm still trying to, adjust, trying to, just live, like right now it's already April 19th. We're next month. We're in May. We're almost halfway through the year. I mean, time is already going fast, but not fast enough, you know what I'm saying? Because of still not. It's just like right now I can't really say much, but I will down the line I will talk about more about this. But right now I'm still starting to get used to where I live now here in this area. And like I said, later on throughout the year, whatever happens, I will talk about more about the move here. So anyway, I promised last time that I spoke that I was going to talk about this illegal war with the United States has with Iran, especially with this fucking asshole that we have in charge, so-called in charge, let's go back to the 2024 election. And this dude's campaign, he said a lot of fucking promises and all that stuff. Like, for example, he said that he was not going to start no new wars, that he was going to lower the prices for gas, that he was going to lower the prices for eggs, that he was going to lower the prices for food, he was going to lower inflation, yada, yada, yada. And Trump claims that he has, when in reality, that can be further from the truth. When this fucker came in, he installed all these ridiculous tariffs, and everything has gone up, inflation is up, and it's just horrendous right now. Honestly, everything's expensive right now. Gasoline, oh my fucking god, especially with the job that I do. It's like right here, especially where I live at now, gas is like $5.89 per gallon. That's like the regular unleaded, people. And like right now, and the thing is also with my father, since he drives every day to Santa Clarita, and he drives 54 miles every day or less, and it's in total. He drives to work and he comes back. It's like almost a total of 80 miles or more. And it's just like right now, because his gas prices right now are so fucking ridiculous. And right now, and this guy says that he is low. And also, like, every people who works in this administration, and they all run their mouth, especially that press secretary, Caroline Levitt, whatever the fuck her name is. I don't know. Nor do I fucking care to remember if that's her name. Like I say, if it is, okay. If it's not, I'm sorry. Like I say, I just don't give two fucks about those people who work in that fucking administration. Caroline Levitt says, and I quote, "This president has lower gas prices like no other president has." I mean, like, they actually believe their own bullshit. It's just fucking mind blowing that this guy, all the people that just open their mouth and claim to say that especially when Trump says that, and he did an interview on Fox News that he claimed that he ended 8 wars, and then he actually believes his own bullshit. Trump believes his own bullshit. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. But as I said before, let's go back to as I got off track, but I was talking about how Trump said that back in the election of 2024, he said he was not going to start new wars and all that stuff. And lo and behold, look what the fuck happened in his second term the following year in 2026. What the fuck did he do? He bombed Iran without Congress approval. Let's think about this for 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Just imagine if this would have been President Bill Clinton, President Barack Obama, President Biden, Just imagine if any of those other three presidents, who are Democrats, by the way, if they would have bombed other countries without Congress approval, oh my fucking God, they would have done everything to impeach the those presidents that I just mentioned. You know, it's funny how they wanted to impeach President Bill Clinton because of what happened with the Monica Lewinsky scandal. You know, I was just a kid when that shit happened, and I remember like so well. I was 14 years old when that scandal happened, and I remember how every member of Congress, when they heard about what happened, because it got revealed like in the beginning of 1998. I think it was in January 1998 when President Bill Clinton got impeached and got exposed for having an affair with Monica Lewinsky. And I was like, what the fuck? And I'll never forget when he did the press conference. He says, and I quote, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky." I was like, oh my God. And you know, it's funny. I don't mean to, I'm sorry for laughing, but every time I hear that, because I remember at that time when WWF, World Wrestling Federation, or WWE, what it is now, when they did a sketch of D-Generation X, did that sketch of the Monica Lewinsky, and then fucking Shawn Michaels said something. "I did not sleep with that young intern. As a matter of fact, I was up all night." Even though I don't like Shawn Michaels, but I will say that shit made me chuckle because they were making a parody of President Bill Clinton's Monica Lewinsky scandal. But as I was saying, I remember when that shit happened. There's even clips on CNN when they talked about that, and they were saying that how a lot of Republicans thought that was not an impeachable offense. They all thought that it was nonsense. Even fucking Trump said in an interview with Wolf Blitzer, I think it was in 2008 or 2007, he said that how they wanted to impeach President Bill Clinton for something that was totally ridiculous. Yeah, but they didn't. He also said that they should have impeached President Bush. Well, that's, you know, for once, forgive me for saying this, that was like the one time that I agree with Trump, and at that time in 2008, because he said something that was so true. Bush had an agenda against Saddam Hussein, and he went to go bomb Iraq because they supposedly had, quote unquote, weapons of mass destruction. What were they? None of that shit was true. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just it's just like a lot of nonsense that that the Congress were doing. Like, I remember there's even a video of let me see if I could find it, because I've always found that shit pretty funny, of how this Trump lapdog was saying that of how they should have impeached President Clinton, and I'm talking about Lindsey Graham. You know, this is like, every time I see that video, it just makes me like, it makes me laugh. Let me see if I could find it. Okay, here it is. This was in 1999. Listen what this fucking lapdog says of Trump. Fucking pathetic piece of shit. Listen to this, by the way.
But I think what's a high crime? How about if an important person hurts somebody of low means? It's not very scholarly, but I think it's the truth. I think that's what they meant by high crimes. Doesn't even have to be a crime. It's just when you start using your office and you're acting in a way that hurts people, you've committed a high crime. When you decide that a course of conduct meets the high crime standard under our Constitution for the president, what are we doing to the presidency? I think we're putting a burden on the presidency, and you should consider it that way. That if you determine that the conduct and the crimes in this case are high crimes, you need to do so knowing that you're placing a burden on every future occupant of that office and the office itself, so do so cautiously. Because one branch of the government should never put a burden on another branch of the government that's not fair and they can't bear. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, if you decided from the conduct of this president that henceforth any office holder who occupies the office of president will have this burden to bear, let me tell you what it is. Don't lie under oath to a federal grand jury when many in the country are begging you not to.
All right. Y'all heard what this fucker said. Like, do not, like, he told President Bill Clinton to not to lie. And what does Trump does all the time? He fucking lies. But yet somehow, oh, it's okay, he's the president.
Can the occupant bear that burden? I voted against Article 2 in the House, which was the deposition, perjury allegations against the president standing alone. I think many of us may have thought that he didn't know about the tapes, that he and Miss Lewinsky thought I had a story that was going to work, and he got caught off guard and he started telling a bunch of lies that maybe I would have lied about. Maybe you would have lied about, because it is personal to have to talk about intimate things, and our human nature is to protect ourselves, our family. That's just human nature. But ladies and gentlemen, what he stands charged of in this Senate happened 8 months later, after some members of this body said, Mr. President, square yourself with the law. Mr. President, if you go into that federal grand jury and you lie again, you're risking your presidency.
Those are the words from this pathetic Trump lapdog. And yet Trump, he lied on it. He fucking lies. And I don't care what people are going to say. If people want to call, especially like the Republicans, conservatives, like specifically like the MAGAs, if they want to call President Bill Clinton, President Joe Biden, President Barack Obama corrupt, this motherfucker right here, Trump, is the king of corruption. He does whatever the fuck he wants, you know? And I don't understand that. How is it possible that this guy does whatever he wants and Congress won't stop him? You know, I'll never understand that. How is it possible that this guy gets away with a lot of shit? And with this guy, he does whatever the fuck he wants. Congress won't stop him. He has like this arrogance, say, I'm the president, I can do whatever I want. And like right now, what he did with bombing with bombing Iran. And now he killed the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Even in the bombing, he actually killed the president of Iran. I think it was, I can't even pronounce his name. Forgive me if I do butcher it. It's Mahmoud Ahmadinejad. If I remember correctly, he was also killed in the bombing of when the United States bombed Iran. You know, it's a mess right now, and because of what's going on right now, and also besides, you know how this dude is invaded Venezuela illegally. He bombed Iran illegally, and right now Trump is running his mouth that he wants to invade Cuba, because I'll bet dollars to donuts that that little other lapdog number 2 named Marco Rubio, he's saying, oh, we should invade Cuba, let's go invade, because he's a pathetic little fuck, you know. And this is another guy who, you know how Trump wants to amend, and he wants to remove like kids who are born who are the parents of who are the parents are illegal immigrants. They want to make them illegal, and this guy is behind it also. Fucking Marco Rubio. I hate that little fucker. But this guy right now, Trump, has done whatever the fuck he wants. And he even ordered sending 3,000 troops to Iran. And it's just like, I thought this guy said he was not going to start new wars. But yet somehow, and during the election years, this little pathetic little Jew named Stephen Miller, he said on Twitter, and even that little Zionist bitch named Laura Loomer was saying that Vice President Kamala Harris was going to go bomb Iran. He was going to send troops. He was going to start a war. And it's funny that about a couple of weeks ago or a week ago, I don't remember exactly, there was I think it was on MSNBC. I think John Kerry, that's his dude's name, John Kerry. He did an interview, and he actually said on the interview that I don't know if they mentioned President Bill Clinton, but they mentioned George W. Bush, President Obama, and President Biden, because they said that this little piece of shit named Benjamin Netanyahu, he said that he asked Bush, he asked President Obama, he asked President Joe Biden to go bomb Iran, and they all said no. Even President Obama, he did that Iran deal, that nuclear Iran deal, and even this guy Trump saying that was pathetic, that was like the worst deal. He actually, it's funny how in his first term, the first thing he did was to remove everything that President Obama left. Everything, even the Iran deal. I think that was like that one time when this dude canceled the Iran nuclear deal. President Obama wrote something on Twitter that he was even against it, but. Like everything that this dude does, it's just to spite President Obama. Like nobody, I have never seen a pathetic guy who hates President Obama so much that I even talked about how what's his name, Trump depicted President Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama as monkeys. And he refused to apologize for it. It doesn't surprise me like that fucking attitude. That's how much he hates President Obama. And it's funny. And also, it's funny how, as I said before, how Trump says that he was not going to start any new wars. And here's a video here that people are saying, oh, aren't you the guy who said that he was not going to start new wars? Trump right now, he says one thing, and he said then the other day he says something another. It's just he's just the king of bullshit. He bullshits all the time. And here's the video. This is back in 2011. I think it was like a year before President Obama was reelected. And here it is right here.
Our president will start a war with Iran because he has absolutely no ability to negotiate. He's weak and he's ineffective. So the only way he figures that he's going to get reelected, and as sure as you're sitting there, is to start a war with Iran. Now, I'm more militant and more militaristic than the president. I believe in strength. But to start a war in order to get elected, and I believe that's going to happen, would be an outrage. This is a great time to negotiate. Unfortunately, we have a president that doesn't know the first thing about negotiation. We have a real problem in the White House. So I believe that he will attack Iran sometime prior to the election because he thinks that's the only way he can get elected. Isn't it pathetic?
I think you're the one who's pathetic, Trump, because you attacked President Obama saying that he was going to go bomb Iran. He never did that. None of that shit ever happened. But here you are, starting another fucking war. And you know what, though? It's funny how all this shit is happening because of the Epstein files. Trump is doing whatever the fuck he can to distract from what's going on with the Epstein files. And even his the little cronies, that little cockeyed piece of shit named Kash Patel, another drunk son of a bitch, who is like basically censoring everything, deleting everything that has to do with Trump, because they all know that this dude is fucking guilty. Everyone knows that. He's a fucking He's a predator. But yet somehow that's that. And, you know, it's funny how Trump is president right now. He believes he has immunity, but the Supreme Court said, no, you don't have immunity. You know? And it's just like a lot of this shit. And also, like, what is that? I think that little port, I think it's in Iran, who they can't cross, or I forget the name of it. And this guy says that he negotiated with Iran. He hasn't negotiated for shit. And here's something right here. This is a dude that I follow on Instagram. Terrific. I listen to all this, like, you know how they all call him and they all trying to fact check him. And especially how the MAGAs can't fact check anything because they know that Trump is a fucking liar. And Isaiah Martin, he fucking humbles and he just speaks just very softly, and he will humble any MAGA claims. He says that they know everything, and they say name a policy, name all this stuff, and they can't come up with anything because they're just so blindly devoted to this guy that they even like it's just, I don't know. I've seen videos on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube. It is just so like unbelievably like the MAGAs, how pathetic they are. Look, I'm saying that not all people who voted for Trump are bad, or I could be wrong perhaps, but like I'm talking to like these hardcore MAGAs. They say that, oh, President Trump is the best, and Trump's like, you know how these MAGAs are always like saying that President Trump is the best, and that inflates Trump's ego, you know, like because he like Trump has a fucking massive ego. You know, and it's just like it's just pathetic. Like all the things that Trump does is just pathetic. And as I was saying right now, Isaiah Martin wrote something on his story on Instagram, said that, look, he said this. He's in Miami Beach, and he said this, and I quote, "Even on the beach, I keep reading leaks coming out of these Iran negotiations. Trump is getting fleeced like no president ever has in American history. It's honestly remarkable how bad of a negotiator he is," and unquote. And this dude has the gall to say that President Obama was pathetic and it was not a good negotiator. It's unbelievable. All the shit is happening, and all because of what's going on over there in the Middle East. And you know, it's funny. I was having a conversation with, I believe it was my dad, and I told him, you know, it's funny, Pops, that I told him, you know, Pops, is funny that every a quote unquote conservative Republican likes war. They all do all this fucking kind of fucking fucked up shit. Like, for example, if I remember, like in history, I have a strong dislike towards, this was before my time, but you know, I like to read a lot of books, especially history. It talks about fucking Eisenhower, Dwight Eisenhower, and as soon as he came in, he overthrew the democratically elected Mossadegh of Iran, the prime minister of Iran, and because of how this dude wanted to take over and give away like the lands that like the oil fields in Iran that it was owned by, I believe it was British companies and American companies, and he wanted to give it back to his people. But as soon as that shit, when Eisenhower, before that shit happened, they were talking to President Truman, Harry Truman, and he was talking to Prime Minister Mossadegh, and President Truman said, you know what, no, I ain't gonna get involved. That's like, don't involve me in this shit. But as soon as Eisenhower went in, things changed, and he overthrew Prime Minister Mossadegh, who was democratically elected. And that same year, he also removed President Jacobo Arbenz of Guatemala because he took away the land that belonged to United Fruit and to give it to the peasants, and that's something that they did not like. And this Eisenhower overthrew democratically elected President Arbenz of Guatemala, because of United Fruit, you know. And then what else? What other Republican president starts with George H.W. Bush, the war with Iraq. George W. Bush, the war with Iraq, and he overthrew Saddam Hussein supposedly. And it's always like these Republicans, they like to start wars. And even what's his name, John McCain, who was running for president in the 2008 election along with President Barack Obama, when he did an interview. Actually, hold up. I saw an interview that I think it was in the year 2000 when he was running for president against George W. Bush. And he said that he talked about how China, Iraq, Iran, and they say that there was not democratic elected. He wanted to install a democratic republic and all that stuff. It's just like typical warmonger John McCain was. And you know right now, and Trump right now is a fucking warmonger. They all advocate for war. It's funny how all the shit that's going on. Look, I don't believe in prophecies in terms of because I'm not religious at all. But all the things that I've seen that people talk about, are we going into World War III? Hopefully not, ladies and gentlemen, because I do believe that enough wars. I do believe that we do need like a period of peace. But as long as this guy is in charge, and it's funny how Trump is still running his mouth of how he wants to do a third term. Like, get the fuck out of here. And it's funny how people were always saying that, oh, President Biden's too old. He's this and that, yada, yada, yada. The same thing with fucking Trump. He's even worse right now. He says a lot of like pathetic shit that doesn't even fucking make sense. And they all made fun of President Biden's stutter. And this guy says, and Trump says a lot of stupid shit doesn't even make fucking sense. And yet somehow, they say, oh, president, and then they do a cognitive test and they say, oh, he's doing great. And in terms of his health, they say he's fit. Everyone knows that the doctors are lying because we all know that fucking Trump has heart disease. He has high cholesterol because of the fucking McDonald's that he stuffs his fat ass with. Because that's all he ever fucking eats. And yet somehow, people that's acceptable. Trump is the best president. Look, I don't think he's the worst that we've ever had in this country. Along with Bush and Reagan, these three motherfuckers are like the worst of all time. Because with Reagan, I have even when I was a kid and even my teens, I always had like a strong dislike towards Reagan because he did a lot of shit but yet somehow to the Republican Party, he's like the greatest of all time. But he was a fucking race baiting, union busting, he did a lot of shit, that I don't appreciate. But that will be for another time. But in terms of Trump right now, oh my God, he got, and even the American people, they asked in polls and they say that they do not agree with this fucking strike against Iran. Where are we going after this, ladies and gentlemen? I don't know. Like it's just like, and right now, if this war keeps going in the Middle East, I believe that we're gonna go into. Look, I'm not an expert, but I've seen a lot of like the science right now that's going on. I just hope we don't go into another recession like what happened back in 2008, because that's what happened with the first Great Recession that occurred, and we lost our house in our first house, and that's because we moved to the other house in Pacoima. But I don't know why. But if there's another Great Recession, thank you, Trump. And it's funny how MAGAs are just like keep quiet. They were saying, "Oh, inflation is up, gas is up, but everything was expensive with Biden." And the same, it's even worse with Trump right now. But they're all quiet. Say, "Oh, Daddy Trump is okay," and it's just the way they say it, it's just fucking pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And where are we gonna go from this? Honestly, people, I don't know. But a lot of people are saying on the internet, especially on social media, they say that they should invoke the 25th Amendment to remove Trump. But Trump will never do that. He'll never quit. because he is just stubborn, and he is a very proud man. And I don't know. I'm pretty scared in terms of, and also this guy, and also that pathetic drunk named Pete Hegseth. They want to, and it's funny how Trump, the biggest draft dodger of all time, because he is a dickless coward, and he wants to install the draft again. I mean, are we going back to the 60s and the 50s, like what happened with World War? Are we going back during the times like World War II, the Vietnam War, and install a draft to force people go into the draft against their will? You know, I don't agree with that. Like, look, I don't have anything against the military, but why is it that they want to force people to go fight a war just because Trump threw a temper tantrum because of Iran said death to America, and that's what prompted him to go bomb this country? You know, I don't know. I'll never understand this administration. The only thing, and like a lot of people are not even traveling at all because of like this guy, especially. I don't even like me for example. I don't even have I don't know. I don't even have a passport. What the fuck? Like, I don't even travel to begin with. I hate traveling. But as soon as this motherfucker is out, I'm gonna go travel with my family to another country here much south. And it's just like right now, the only thing, we just have 2 more years left of this fucking asshole. And what's gonna happen in the 2028 election? Who's it gonna be? Is it gonna be Governor Newsom? Is it gonna be another candidate? And for the Republican Party, that little pathetic fuck that goes by the name of J.D. Vance. Governor Newsom is gonna fucking cook this motherfucker if he is the candidate for president. Because right now there's stories that Vice President Kamala Harris might go again, might launch to go be president again. I mean, only time will tell. Let's see what happens, and we just have 2 more years left of this fucking asshole. And only time will tell. Yeah. But you know what, though? I just want to say thank you all for listening. That about wraps up for this week's podcast. And I do want to say that, once again, people, I do apologize. I haven't been recording. It's just like, I'm still... we're done unpacking. We're just setting up everything, because of the move. I was just... And also because I've not been well mentally. And... like I said, let's see what happens. The only thing I can look forward for is like in the future, I'll be back home. And to the people that know me very well and to listen to my podcast, and you know what I'm talking about when I say home. So yeah, and also find me on Spotify for Creators, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio. And also find me on YouTube. Click the link below and subscribe to my page. Like my page, please. And also, I'm kind of struggling right now in terms of my job right now. It's a little bit slow. If you want to help me out, donate. If you want me to produce, I could produce more episodes. There's my link on my Instagram for buying me a coffee. You can donate however much you want. If you want to, that is. Like I said, it's not an obligation, but also you can spread the word about it. And I just want to say thank you all. And once again, I do apologize for not recording, and it's just been stressful right now for me and my family. And I'll be back next week. Look forward to recording again, and I look forward to just say thank you all for listening to my podcast. Have a good evening.